Hi there, welcome to this channel, Dreams Made Possible, where we share knowledge and tips around personal mastery and leadership. Leadership is one of those subjects that I like because leadership plays such a central role in shaping institutions and in shaping the future of people around us. But then you've got those leaders who I call effective and secure leaders. And this type of leaders understand that it's not about themselves. They put others at the center. They inspire, they motivate, they encourage others to reach their full potential. But on the other hand, you've got leaders who are insecure and it's all about themselves. And they are so good in sabotaging those around us and in stifling energy out of these people to an extent that they cannot reach their potential. So stick around as I'm going to share with you 8 signs that you need to be aware of so that you do not fall into the trap of becoming an insecure leader. Because with that type of leadership, you are not going to inspire, you are not going to take your team or anyone that is supposed to follow you to the next level. Without wasting any time, let's jump into the first one. And the first one is that they lie to cover gaps in their knowledge and experience. You'll be surprised. Leaders who do not understand that as a leader, you don't necessarily have to know everything, they fall into this trap. They believe that because they are leaders, they are supposed to know everything. And think about it. Just reflect. How much of a particular subject can you know? How much of different subjects can you know? Yes, people have got the ability to learn and study, but the reality is that is why we've got what we call teams, so that you can cover the different knowledge bases that one individual cannot cover. But because insecure leaders do not have that understanding, they fall into the trap of wanting to be seen to be knowing everything. And if you don't know everything, what will you do? So their response is to lie and cover their tracks and want to appear as if they know everything. How do you know them? For example, if you are sitting with them in a meeting and one of the team members come up with a particular subject, they will start to say, hey, in the past hours, we were working on this particular thing and I know it. They will go on to say that actually where I used to work, I am the one who started to work on this particular process. But as you go deeper into the subject, as you peel this onion, you start to realize that they have not been exposed to that. So as a leader, don't fall into that trap. If you don't know something, admit. That is why you've got leaders or team members that you bring together to cover the different bases. So you will be exposed that you do not know certain things and you've got no reason to make up for that which you don't know. Leave it to others because you have hired them to close that particular gap. Let's look at the second point. They throw their weight around so that they can instill fear in others. This is also a misconception of leadership, that they believe that leadership is grounded in power. And when I say power, here I mean positional power. They would always remind others that they are a head of a department. They will quickly remind them that they are the general manager in this place. They will quickly remind others that they are the supervisor and nobody else is a supervisor. And the reality is, team members do not doubt that they are the head, that they are the supervisor, that they are the foreman, but they constantly feel obligated to remind others. And actually, the part of reminding is to say, you dare go against what I'm saying, you need to remember that I'm the boss. And the untold statement is that if you work against me, then I'll show you who the boss is. So that is why they always want to remind others who they are, as if they don't know who they are. You know that advert where the person says, do you know who I am? and the lady responds to say, "Oh, guys, here's a person next to me who don't know who they are, because people know who you are. You don't have to throw your weight, but the more you do it, the more you remind them of your position and of your power, the more you are withdrawing from that element of trust that your team should be building and then appreciating you as a leader. So if you always throw your weight around, know that people start to realize that you becoming an insecure leader. Let's look at point number 3. They want success from themselves and they steal the limelight all the time. So effective leaders and secure leaders know that they achieve results through others. It is not necessarily about themselves. But unfortunately, with insecure leaders, when a team achieves something great, they are quick, very quick, to steal that limelight and talk and tell everybody that it was because of their effort. Was it not for them giving tools, giving resources, the team could not have achieved the things that they had achieved. Is that wrong? Definitely it might not be wrong, because that is your role as a leader, to give your team tools and resources for them to be able to achieve the things that they are supposed to achieve. But then, should we praise you as a fish that was swimming? No, definitely not. That is what great leaders do, to make their people being able to deliver on that which they are supposed to deliver. But unfortunately, with secure leaders, they want it to be known that it was because of them. They want accolades to come to them. So what it means is that once their teams or team members are being showered with praises, they quickly come to grab that attention. So they do not encourage, they do not inspire, they do not recognize, because they are the only ones who deserve the recognition. So you ask yourself, why then are you a leader if you think that everything is around you? So be careful of that particular trap. Let's look at the 4th element. They usually divide the team. And they divide the team by ensuring that they've got favorites within the team. And usually what they do is that they look at what I call the weakest link in the team. One of the team members maybe who might not be secure themselves like the leader is, because they always want to build a team of to create a pity party around themselves. So how best to do it is to look for a person within the team who is not confident, who lacks self-esteem. And because they know that these people need validation as they do, they bring these people closer to them, so that these people can be their ears and eyes within the team. So this type of people that they bring are the ones who will tell the leader everything that other team members have said. And that is the value that they derive from those people. So that's how they divide the team, because other team members start to realize that one particular person in the team is the favorite. They get favors, they get feedback, they are the first to get to know the news. And what happens? The team start to stay away from this other team member, because they do not feel secure, and they don't trust this particular member of the team. And in that way, they move away from them. So once the team starts to do that, you start to build the distrust within the team. And that is what insecure leaders are not realizing. They only think, they think very low as far as that area is concerned, thinking that they are securing themselves by having this person closer to them, only to find that they are breaking a bigger team for one particular person. So as a leader, as an effective leader, a leader who needs to be secure, know that you've got team members. Just understand their strengths and play around their strengths, rather than exploring their weaknesses to your benefit. Otherwise, you are not a leader. You are not building an effective team. Let's look at the 5th element. They are good at throwing their team under the bus. So this element is all about blame. So equally so like the limelight, they are quick to grab the limelight. But when things go south, when things go wrong, they do not stand up as leaders and take accountability. It's always them, not me. It's always them, not my contribution to that bigger problem. Because as a leader, there are certain things accountability stops with you, and there are certain things that you need to stand up there and say, I should have been responsible as the leader to stand up for these things. But insecure leaders would always want their team to take the blame for them. So when it comes to success and the limelight, it is them. When it comes to things going down the drain, it is not them, it is the team. So it is just like in soccer. We know that those who follow soccer, that when the team is doing well and they score, in some instances, the supporters will praise the players. But when things go wrong, they will start to say it is the fault of the coach, even if the coach is doing well. I hope you understand that example in terms of this particular subject that we are talking about. So in this particular case, they sweep that around, and they are the supporter. This type of leaders, insecure leaders, they are that type of supporter who blames the team in this instance when things go wrong. But when things go right, they take the limelight for themselves. So this type of leader who will not stand up for their team, they put their team under the bus. So they always believe that the customer is right, even in instances where it is plain blank that the customer is not right in this instance. As a leader, there are those instances where you've got to stand up for your team and say, not in my name, especially if you've got evidence that your team has been doing things right. And in this particular instance, it is not the team that has maybe done a gross mistake that they have been alleged to have done. You have to stand up for your team and not put them under the bus. And sometimes, even if the team is wrong in this instance, you don't go out there and just splash negativity around them in front of everyone, but you learn how to communicate displeasure, dissatisfaction without breaking the spirit of the team. But insecure leaders don't do that. They go out there and they break the spirit of their team in front of everyone. Let's look at point number 6. They cannot handle feedback. So these are the type of leaders who will say, I appreciate feedback. Please tell me when things are going wrong. My door is open. Please come and share your ideas. But when you look around them, usually in their meetings, people decide to go silent because they know that the feedback, even if they give feedback, honestly so, that somebody's not going to react upon it. Because insecure leaders are the type of leaders who want people to say things that they as leaders want to hear. But if they've got grounded team members, if they've got secure team members who have confidence and self-esteem, who are able to give feedback, even if it's crucial and tough feedback, then they are not able to process that information because they personalize the information. It's always about them. They feel hurt about with the information. Instead of standing back and say, is there value in this feedback? Is it possible that I can do something to change things around for myself so that I can develop as a leader? No, they invite the feedback, but deep down, they are not ready to receive that type of feedback. So you need to be careful as a team member reporting to such person as to how you give feedback. But here, again, it's about this leader. It's about you. Things or feedback that is being given is not supposed to tell you and put you on a pedestal if you're not on a pedestal. You need to appreciate as a leader and build your self-confidence to say some of the feedback might not favor what you want to hear, but you need to learn to step back, process the information, and see what value you can derive out of that information. Let's look at point number 7. These are the type of leaders who write everything down so that they can protect themselves. There's nothing wrong about taking down your notes. There's nothing wrong about making summaries about in meetings. But here, you will realize that the distinction as far as insecure leaders is concerned is that they write everything down because they are waiting for that day if things were to go wrong so that they can pull that file and remind you of the things you have done or the things that you haven't done. So it's that type of an approach to leadership that is called cover my ass type of approach to leadership. It is just a sign of insecurity. No matter how they try to excuse it, it has got all the vibes, as you say, of micromanagement, of wanting to put people that they are in their places. So insecure leaders, they do not write notes to remind themselves. They write notes verbatim so that tomorrow they can pull that file and remind you of the things that you have done. So as a leader, you don't necessarily have to write everything. Sometimes you've got to trust your team that they will pull things together. You need to understand the different types of people that you have in your team and how to manage situationally, so how to adapt your leadership to the different types of people. But spending an inordinate amount of time writing notes, storing them away, is just a waste of time. It is just building upon your insecurity as a leader. The last point and the eighth point is that they are resistant to change. So with insecure leaders, anything different from what they are doing is treated or interpreted as threats. So they do not necessarily suggest change. They do not appreciate change that is suggested by other people because they want the status quo. Remember, leadership is all about them. So anything that is going to change what is currently existing is being interpreted as taking away from them, and that is why they resist change. So it is difficult to work with those type of leaders, and as an insecure leader, you need to go back and look at all the changes that have happened since you have been maybe part of an organization or institution or movement, and ask yourself serious question if those changes have been anything but bad. And then you start to realize that there's nothing wrong about change. Change happens every day. It is just what differs is just the magnitude of change, and things cannot stay the same all the time. So instead of being afraid of change, you need to work a lot on yourself so that you grow as a leader and you are not impacted by change. So those are the 8 signs that I would like you to be aware of as a leader, and work around yourself, because leadership is about making others successful. It's not about you. It is about inspiring and encouraging others to become their best. But if you are an insecure leader, you are a stumbling block. You are the one that sabotages your team. You are the one that is stifling the energy out of them so that they do not reach their full potential. So you need to stand back and be vulnerable and accept that you need to work on yourself. But if you cannot come to that conclusion, the only best conclusion that you can come to is that you are not a leader, and rather step back and give others who are leaders the space and the time to be able to take the team and the organization to the next level. Thank you for listening to this video, and if this content resonates with you, I ask you to follow us, subscribe, as we continue to build a community of dreamers, people who are prepared to share knowledge, to share tips with others so that we can impact one person at a time. Until the next video, I thank you.